And welcome back to Waxahachie, Texas, on the campus of Southwestern Assemblies of God University in the Schaefer Center. I'm here with Devin Webb, the volleyball expert, and she has really brought some enlightenment to the game tonight. And we just came off of a big win over the Langston Lions. Sum that up for us, Devin.
So we had a pretty good match. SAGU won 3-0, and we talked a lot in that broadcast, if you were there with us for that one, about how Langston was such a young team. They had all freshmen except for one sophomore, so that was a big difference for Langston's roster versus SAGU. We've got a lot more seniority on the SAGU Lady Lions side, so we saw just a lot more mature volleyball played by SAGU, and they did a great job. Langston did a couple times they had some pretty good runs in each of the sets, but they just needed some more time to mature as a team, and we figured that was going to be the case. But their coach, Jacob Rodriguez, is the perfect guy for the job. He's going to work with them from the ground up and build them into a really strong team.
Well, our courtside reporter, Kristen Urban, caught up with the player of the game, Callie Shaw. Let's hear from Kristen. What did Callie have to say?
Thanks, John. Callie, impressive win over Langston. What do you attribute to this success?
Well, we went in it. We've been practicing since the beginning of this week. We've been looking at Langston and what we need to do to beat them, and we've just been focusing on them.
How do you plan on carrying this momentum into your next game?
Well, that was a great win. That was our first conference win, so that's really exciting. But we celebrated, and now we're shifting that focus to Our Lady of the Lake.
Thanks, Callie, and good luck. Back to you, John and Devin.
Thanks, Kristen. And there you have it, the player of the game. Last game, this is a doubleheader, so this is game number 2 coming up. But just so you know, in the conference standings, the Lady Lions, SAGU Lady Lions, I should say, are sitting pretty in number 2 place, in the number 2 spot. They've only lost 1, but Callie Shaw leads the conference with kills at 77 kills. Now, maybe not a completely fair picture to all the teams evenly, because they haven't played the same number of games, but that is just showing you that Callie Shaw is doing some senior business this year. I think she's on a record-setting pace for at least a single season record for herself, and with 77 kills in 5 games. That's pretty good.
And Callie was a really strong player even as a freshman. So I remember calling the games when she very first started 4 years ago. And we talked about how much potential she had as a player, and now we're seeing her really live up to that. And she is a really strong player, not only offensively, but she plays great defense too. So we saw a lot of that in the match we just played against Langston. She's got a lot of hustle. She's really quick, and she's committed to going for every single ball, which is what you need in a player. When you're going to be relying on them like SAGU relies on Shaw, you're going to need someone that's willing to hustle and put in that extra effort, both in a moment of glory, as it were,
sure,
for an offensive play, but also when it is hard for her to get down and get a ball on defense, she's going to do that for the team, which is so important.
Yeah, she is one of the best athletes on this campus, and just a great person on and off the court, a delight to know. And has developed into quite the leader. Well, right now we're going to the pregame festivities down court side, and we'll be back with you in just a moment.
Number 3, Emily Garcia. Number 6, Anissa Temez. Number 8, Ayana Taylor. Number 11, Anissa Rivera. Number 13, Tajana Kruta. Number 16, Bailey Hubbard. And the head coach, Jeremiah Tiller. And now the starting lineup for your SAGU Lady Lions. Number 2, Callie Shaw. Number 4, Alexa coach, Hank Moore, and assistant coach, Nick Moore.
And there you have it, the starting lineups. Now let's review a little history here, a little history lesson on SAGU Athletics. SAGU used to be in the Red River Conference. OLLU, Our Lady of the Lakes University, our opponent tonight in this second match of this doubleheader, is in the Red River. And there was quite a rivalry. Was that the case when you played, Devin?
Yeah, I was actually down on the court before this game started talking. There's quite a bit of former SAGU volleyball players here tonight. So a group of us were talking about when we played, this was always such a big rivalry. Our Lady of the Lake is a really competitive program, and they have been. I mean, I played here 7-8 years ago. And they were competitive then, and it looks to be, just watching them warm up tonight, it looks to be that same way. So it's going to be a lot of fun for those of us has-beens watching tonight to see that the program of Our Lady has continued to be competitive, and to see SAGU with such a strong team to compete. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Right. And it is always fun to get, we don't face them as much as we used to in the past, but it is a lot of fun to get those types of matchups in your season. Just makes you better, I think.
Yep. We've got the first point underway here. Celie Bruce with a great serve, number 7 for SAGU, the libero. And we're going to see a game here where it's going to be extremely important to not make errors, like we just saw from Our Lady, number 8, Ayana Tabor. She just made a hitting error. We're not going to be able to have those in such a competitive match. With Molly McBride up, a great recovery by Suzanne. A little bit of scrappy play, but we're still in play here in this rally. And a great swing from number 16, Bailey Hubbard.
That was a big hit.
For the Lady Saints. She, I have a feeling, is going to be a player to watch. She's got height, she's got a great vertical, and that was a great, powerful swing, too.
They have her listed at 5'8". She looks a little bit bigger than that,
Yeah,
and she is a sophomore middle back.
Got a kill attempt by number 11, Anissa Rivera, for the Lady Saints. And a great dig attempt, unfortunately unsuccessful for their libero, Elizabeth Olivares. Great hustle, but unfortunately she was just a little too late. And you notice their setter, number 6, she's got her leg wrapped, Anissa Temez, her leg wrap pretty strong. It looks like a hamstring wrap is what I've seen that wrap for before.
Yeah. You've not only seen it, but you've worn it, I believe.
I've known that one a little too well, I think. And we have a hitting error for SAGU. Again, small errors like that are okay, and that came from Jancy Akers, a freshman, number 18, hitting from the middle. So a couple errors like that at the beginning of the set are okay, but we're going to have to clean that up if we have a chance here. And Molly McBride with a push on the third contact there.
Well, her hitting percentage is going up by the second. She's been successful on almost every touch tonight, although she didn't get the start in the Langston game. It was good to see Coach Moore shaking it up, not committed wholly to just one set of 6, but he has a lot of players in his bag to go to, and Molly is one of those consistent, good players, and she's a senior.
We've got a double contact there on Sophia Ivy, number 8 for the Lady Lions. Something we haven't seen a lot from her, so it looked like her feet maybe just weren't set on that play. She'll clean it up, I'm sure. Another good attempt by Jancy Akers. Ivy to Suzanne there for a kill from the
Wow.
back row, number 17, excuse me. Suzanne for the Lady Lions. That's what we're going to call her because I struggled to pronounce her last name on the last broadcast.
We're going to have to just sit down with her and get her to slowly, phonetically
Spell it out.
put it out to us. But it's good to see her. This is our first look, really, although, well, tonight is the first look that we've had at this great transfer. And she's the real deal.
We've got a kill there for the Lady Saints. Number 17, Natalie Fazio, came down a little bit in front of the middle blocker, Alexis Mueller, number 4 for the Lady Lions, for a Lady Saints ball. Number 23, Marisa Cardenas, right there for a kill for the Lady Saints. It's a pretty tight set here. Only a 1-point differential, and that was not something we saw against Langston last match. So this is already proving to be a much closer lineup. Number 2, Callie Shaw with a slide there as she runs back out to the outside of the court. Good dig by Nikki Almaguer. That would have been a double contact, I think, if I were refereeing that match, but it looks like we're still going. And Coach Moore always says the ball never lies. You see him right there holding up 2 fingers for a double contact. The referee didn't call it, but then SAGU got the point. So as he says, the ball never lies. We've got number 8, Sophia Ivy, back to serve. And an unforced error there by number 23, Marisa Cardenas. The Lady Lions are up 6-5. Great defensive play by Almaguer. Right there, you see number 4, Mueller, going up, as we call that, a joust at the net between the 2 middle blockers. And she was just a little bit late. The ball fell behind her.
Is that a play, in your expert analysis, that maybe she shouldn't try the joust but get it back over either as a set, or I can't remember where they were in their hitting order, but maybe a freshman mistake there. Let's get a better play, a better setup for a more strategic kill.
Yeah, that's something a judgment call, you just kind of learn better as you go. You know, it's different for every player based on vertical and comfort at the net. So the more you learn about yourself as a player, the more you'll know what to do. Right there, you see Sophia Ivy caught a little too far inside for a Lady Saints point. Again, tie game 7-7 here. But yeah, I think that Alexis Mueller will just learn that as she plays more with this team and as she knows that she can rely on who's behind her. That's the hardest thing as a middle. You know, do I take this or am I able to trust my teammates? She'll learn to trust her team that's behind her. Right there, you see a struggle at the net, number 8, Ayana Tabor for Our Lady of the Lake. She goes up, tries to tip it over, and looks like she just came a little too far in. You see her reaching there.
Yeah, well, it looked like the set was set more behind her than she wanted and had to really reach for it.
And Bruce with the serve. We've got a great swing there by 18, Jancy Akers. What a great kill.
And if you'll slow it down, and you see right here, this is a quick set, very low to the ground. I mean, to the net. And so that results in a very quick kill.
And right there, you see a similar play that the Saints just ran. It wasn't as quick and succinct as the Lady Lions play, but a similar set, and it worked for them.
Worked great.
Number 6, Anissa Temez back to serve.
It was a good Molly McBride with a good swing on that, but an even better block at the net right here. Great block. And the freshman comes up short with the dig.
On that replay, you can see as McBride goes up to hit the ball, she didn't have enough coverage around her. That's the most important part when your teammate is up to hit. A great kill there by Suzanne from the right side of the court. But as you see that here, this great kill, a push back to the right side of the floor, no block, completely open net. She took advantage of that for sure. But coverage, when you've got a teammate up to run an offensive play, you've got to have coverage down on the floor in case the ball comes back. Right there you see Bruce, a great example of what coverage does for a team. And a good dig attempt by number 2, Olivares.
Let's slow that down, guys, as we see. We missed it on the play before. The coverage area, I'd like to, next time we see that, Devin, we'll slow it down and point out where the coverage area actually is. Oh, great read.
So right there, Ivy is a right-handed player, but you saw that she's playing on the front row, and so she's allowed to go up and jump and play a ball over the net because she's a front row player. So she's active on the offense. So she goes up, strengthens her left hand, and is able to tip that and throw off the defense. A great dig by Shaw, and luckily for the Lady Lions, an error by number 16, Bailey Hubbard. You see here a timeout. It doesn't seem like that big of a deficit, but the Our Lady coach knows that they can't be down much more than this to have a chance in the game. And as we talk more about coverage and we see a lot of aggressive plays, you can see here as an open net is one great example of, you can't do that when you've got such tall players, and as evidenced by that play.
So what caused the lack of defensive presence at the net on that? Was that a called play or a breakdown?
So that was a misjudgment by the defense. So if you notice in that replay that we just saw, our setter Ivy was running toward the outside. So she's running the opposite direction of where she put the ball. So defense naturally would think, okay, the easy play for Ivy would be to just set it up outside because she's already running that direction. But Ivy knows that and knows that the defense is going to be setting up for the outside of the court. So instead of using her hands to set the ball, she used her arms to do a backwards pass to then put the ball where opposite of the direction she was moving, and so that totally throws off the defense. Right,
and as you see there, some other Sooner Athletic Conference play happening out at the Wayland campus. Wayland Baptist playing MAC-U, all knotted up 1-1.
And we are back live here with Suzanne for the serve, 13-9. Lady Lions are up. And McBride with a great play. Back to Suzanne on the back row. She's clearly a go-to if we're still setting her on the back row with our strong offense. And a great block. That's gonna be a point for Our Lady of the Lake, but number 18 for the Lady Lions, Akers. A good block there, but unfortunately it just goes barely out of bounds for a blocking error. And now up to serve is number 4, Alyssa Marquez. Clean pass, great set to McBride. Also a clean set by Our Lady of the Lake. A really hard defensive play to come back. And McBride reaching for a tip there. And that's going to be a double contact.
I was going to say it looked, it doesn't have to be in a traditional set that a double contact comes from. It can come off of the forearms, right?
So it's a lot harder for it to be double if you're going for the arms, but it can be. But in that sense, the spin from her hand setting the ball gave that away to the referee.
Got you.
You see here a set to the right side, number 11, kill attempt Rivera. To Shaw, just barely long, just barely.
I wish we had a radar gun. Those are some heaters from Callie Shaw.
You just look at how red the arms of the defense is, and it can give you a pretty good indicator. We've got the libero, Olivares for Our Lady of the Lake serving. Kind of a messy play here, trying to clean it up. Back out to Shaw. Great dig by Oliveira. Another joust situation at the net. Good defense on both sides of the floor. And that is a great example of coverage, how important that is. But an unforced error there. When you do cover, obviously, you know, when you're diving onto the ground, you don't have a lot of control. So you always want to, they say, to get the ball high in the middle of the floor. So as we watch this game, you'll see a lot of that. The ball just going high in the middle of the floor if they can't get their feet there in time. It's a great jump set by number 6, Temez, for Our Lady of the Lake. Shaw up again at the outside, and that one will be just inbounds. She's calling for a touch because she thought it might have been out of bounds. So the good thing about volleyball is if the ball goes long but a blocker just barely tips it, it goes to the offensive team. So even if it's out of bounds, if there was some contact by the opposing team, the point goes to the offense.
But just to note, that was in.
Yes, yes. We had both working in our favor.
Great play there.
We see number 6, Anissa Temez. She's done a lot of jump sets recently. She's a shorter setter. And so this team, Our Lady of the Lake, is running a 6-2. You see now number 11, who is back to serve. She is their second setter. So we've got both Anissa Rivera and Anissa Temez. They've got the same name. Both setters here for the Lady Saints. But we've got Temez, who you just saw sub out. She is great with jump sets. She's very quick on her feet, a lot shorter than the rest of her team, but very quick on the floor. So that was a great jump set. She has a lot of control, which makes a great setter. And Callie Shaw covering her own hit attempt. And a hitting error by the Lady Saints. They're calling for a touch, but it doesn't look like there was.
Yeah, Callie.
We did call a touch.
Callie fessed up to it, and that is OLLU's point.
And Coach Moore always tells his girls to be honest, even if the referee doesn't see it. That's one of the many things that makes him such a great coach, is he values honesty over winning a point. And you see there, it works in our favor. We're honest, but then we get the ball back for another opportunity. Got number 8, Ivy, back to serve. And Bruce with a great play.
Wow, good read. Sophie Ivy is just expanding her court vision and her know-how to really control the ball on the floor, and just a true leader. And that's, we've just seen her grow leaps and bounds over the last year.
And right there, that previous play, number 13 for Our Lady of the Lake, Tiana Cruda, that was an example of a middle blocker reaching back when they probably should have trusted their teammates, because you saw she was surrounded by defense waiting to pass the ball, but she reached up, touched it with her hands, and that made the ball, the speed of the ball slow down, so the rest of the team wasn't able to get to it. So, you know, as middle blockers learn, you see that there, she reached up. She should have trusted her teammates, but again, it's a judgment call. You just learn as you go.
That's very tough sometimes, especially when you're in the blind, and you always think the most negative scenario, and then you react to that. And like you say, it takes a lot of experience, a lot of chemistry to be able to build that kind of trust level with your team. And that's no matter what sport you're playing, and especially in volleyball when so many things are happening behind you that you can't see, and you have to just absolutely trust your teammates.
And that's why verbal communication on the floor is so important too, because you have so many situations like that where the front row can't see. They don't have eyes in the back of their head, of course. So you have to be able to be loud enough to tell your teammate, I'm here, I got it. So that's why in practices there are so many drills just focused on verbal communication, because that's how a lot of times you keep a rally going. You see here now we've got Our Lady of the Lake has used both of their timeouts. SAGU has yet to use one. The Lady Lions are up 18-14 as we're back with Ivy serving. And you see there a slight miscommunication there by Ivy and Almaguer. And you'll notice as we see this replay here, Almaguer comes slightly in front of Ivy on the back row with that cross defense. That's the right thing to do, but instead of reaching their arms back, they just needed to shuffle their feet a couple more steps, and that error would have gone away. Shaw back up to hit. A good recovery by Suzanne.
Now in that case, we see Tiana Kruba looked like to be over the net there. Is that okay? Is that a legal play as long as you don't hit the net?
So there's a certain, they call it the plane of the net, that you're allowed to, there's a certain distance you're allowed to be over. But in that case, there was nobody going up actively trying to set the ball. And so her hand being just barely over is acceptable. Now, if there had been a setter there trying to go up both hands and she were over, that would be illegal. But if you clear, if there's nobody above the plane of the net, as the saying goes, then it's a legal play. Got Suzanne with a roll shot right there. She has, you've seen a lot of high-speed kill attempts from her, and they just haven't been working quite as well. So right there, she switched up the speed, roll shot, and it went to the right spot and got a point.
That looks like a very hard maneuver, a tough executable kind of hit. Is it as tough as it looks?
Well, you kind of decide it in the moment when you're going up in the air. So, if your hand makes wrong contact and is a little too limp, then it'll end up on your same side of the floor. So you've got to make sure that you're going up confidently. Molly McBride there with a great kill, falls down in front of the Lady Saints defense there at the net. But yes, if you go up, you have to be confident that you're going to do a roll shot, because even though it looks like it's really soft, it takes a lot of control on your arm to make it what it needs to be. We've got there 13, Kruda with another kill attempt, and number 8 for the Lady Saints with a kill, Ayana Tabor there. A great play, little bit of slow defense on the Lady Lions side. We see that replay here. Just didn't move their feet. She hit right between the block, and our back row wasn't sitting in the block like we're supposed to, so that's a great play. And another off-speed hit.
Looked like a little bit of a freshman mistake. Turns out to be an awesome mistake right there. I don't know. I think she was trying to go real soft with it, but just looked more awkward than it really was.
And Bruce back to serve. Right there.
Great save.
Great save by number 3 for the Lady Saints, Emily Garcia.
Molly McBride just misses wide with the soft touch pass.
She saw that opening right there, just a little too far. Number 6 back to serve, Temez for the Lady Saints. Only a 2-point set here at number 1.
She's seeing the floor very well tonight and hitting most of the spots. And when she's not hitting it dead on, it's very close every time. Her accuracy is spot on tonight.
And that's a sign of a mature player when they don't have to just hit the ball as hard as they can every time, but they look at the placement. Right there, you see that 16 Hubbard, a great example of what we're talking about. She had a great set. She could have swung extremely hard, but she saw a gap in the middle of the floor and decided to take it with a tip. And number 4, Alyssa Marquez back to serve, serving 22. That interesting play there. Number 16 goes up. Hubbard hangs in the air for quite a while. The set was a little too high, so she wasn't able to make contact with the quick set like she would have liked to, and that would have called for a much harder hit. But the off speed threw off the Lady Lions defense. But it looks like a net violation I might have missed for the Lady Lions to have the ball. Great kill by 17, Natalie Fazio. Really aggressive play. Haven't seen a lot of intense hits like that quite as often from the Lady Saints as we have as the Lady Lions.
Wow.
Now that would have, a radar gun would have been great for that. And right there, an example of a lack of coverage. We've talked so much about that. We saw.
Let me tell you what's more impressive than this 102-mile-an-hour fastball from Callie Shaw is that dig. Oh my goodness.
She's able to move around the floor quite a bit. A lot of fun to watch. Off-speed back row from Suzanne. Okay, so a quick explanation here. That's a back row violation. So when you've got someone that is in the back row on paper in the rotation and they jump in front of the 10-foot line to attack the ball over the net, that is illegal. So you can jump if you're a setter and you are setting it to someone on your side, but the minute you jump and send a ball over, if you're in the back row, it becomes illegal. Good hustle by the Lady Saints. Little scrappy ball here. Shaw up, uses the block off of number 11 for the Lady Saints. That was a great play by Shaw.
For the game winner at that.
Rivera was up there by herself on the right side of the floor. Didn't have a middle block in there. Not sure where that middle block was partnering with her, but Shaw saw that and used it against her to play off of the outside hand.
Yes, that was the patented Callie Shaw stinger, and the SAGU Lady Lions walk away with the first set, but I'm sure many more to come. And as the team swaps sides, getting ready for a little last-second strategy to start off the new set, little game planning session between the players. You see that both coaches are out of the huddle. What are the players talking about at this point? Let's go to OLLU's huddle there. What are the ladies talking about?
Well, they look to be pretty heated there. Lots of intense conversation. Just based on body language, I would say that they know that they could have played better than they played. They had a lot of bright, shining moments, but you see each of them, a lot of expression, talking with their hands, a lot of body movement, showing clear frustration, and understandably so. I mean, that these teams are pretty equally matched, but when you've got silly errors like missed serves or net violations or hitting a ball long multiple times in one set, I mean, that gets to be pretty frustrating. And those kind of mistakes, the unforced errors as we call them, they're all mental. So you can just get your mind back in place where it needs to be, and then those mistakes go away. Service errors, same thing. If you are missing serves, that's all mental. You don't have anyone except you at the back line. When you're going up to hit, there's nobody there except you. You're in control. So that mental control is what the Lady Saints need to bring more of to this second set. But at the same time, the Lady Lions can't lose that, because if you remember, they made quite a bit of errors too, but they cleaned it up there at the end and had a lot of aggressive, smart plays, not necessarily hard kills, just smart placement.
Well, I had predicted that the Lady Lions would be successful in set one. My score was 25-23. I was off by one. 25-22 was the final score of that set. If you're on social media, Facebook or Twitter, tweet at us or comment in the posted area at SAGU Sports Network on both Twitter and Facebook. Tell us what you think the score will be of this set. Go ahead and make your predictions in the comments on Facebook, or just hashtag SAGU VOLLU with your score for set number 2. Looks like Coach Moore's coming out with the same starting lineup as set 1 with the freshman Jancy Akers. I think that is she's playing outside hitter, right? Starting at outside hitter, or is that middle?
Well, it looks, on the lineup, she's in the, obviously the left front part of the floor, but based on where Molly McBride is pulling back, it looks like Molly's going to kick outside and Akers will go to the middle of the floor. And Suzanne there was no contact from the Lady Saints, so that'll be 4 touches. Kind of a hard judgment call. You just go for it, and if the referee calls it, then you know. But it's always better to keep playing until the whistle blows rather than to assume. And number 6, Temez serving for the Lady Saints. A good serve. Caused Suzanne to have to go down to the floor to get that one. A lot of great hustle there on a second contact. Bruce with the dig. Ivy to Shaw on the back row. And Tabor there with a kill attempt. Deep to the back right of the floor. And Suzanne up again, pushing down the line. That's another great play. An example that it doesn't always have to be a really hard kill. A great player can do that when they need to, but they're more concerned about getting the point than just hitting the ball really hard.
And we're seeing the front attack of the Lady Lions so versatile. A lot of the long and angled passes instead of the very hard kills, mixing it up very, very well.
And Shaw, great defense. We talked about her on the back row. She can play offense on the front, but also plays defense on the back. Good dig there by Suzanne. A little too short, close to the ground for Ivy to make it there. And you notice here as we run a 5-1 lineup, Ivy, number 8 for the Lady Lions, is currently on the front row. So you see Suzanne, number 17, playing right back. So they've got to have a lot of communication because Ivy is used to setting the ball, but if she happens to be in a block and can't get there, then Suzanne's her backup. And a great solo block there by 16 Hubbard for the Lady Saints. They are currently in the lead 3-1 here in set number 2 as number 4 Marquez steps back to serve.
Wow. Again, Sophie Ivy with just the heads up play. Beautiful play.
When she made that call, she could have, the other option would have been to set up Molly McBride, but she more than likely took a glance right before making contact to see that part of the floor was open and had that wonderful placement.
But the level of difficulty having to not looking at that side of the court, going reverse over her head, so going reverse to make that play was incredible.
And Almaguer serve for the Lady Lions. A kill attempt by Rivera. A lot of free balls in this rally. You see there, Hubbard took that open net. She saw the back corner. As Shaw sends a free ball, you never want to give a free ball to a strong offensive team. She saw that open corner and hit exactly where there was nobody, which obviously is the goal in a volleyball game. She saw that, took advantage of the free ball, as any strong offensive team should, for another point. Great dig by Bruce. Almaguer, a back row attempt. Strong defense from Temez as well. And a great swing down the line. Number 11, Anissa Rivera.
The ball gets past Almaguer, but Almaguer has really upped her gamesmanship, and you can tell she's worked hard over the summer months to improve her overall game. Even her foot speed looks a lot quicker than it did last year. She is contributing a lot to this in these last 2 games. Good to see her step up and fill a role.
A good open find there from the freshman Akers for the Lady Lions. Couple struggling offensive plays in the past couple of rallies, but Akers found that hole and went for it right there. As we've got number 6 for the Lady Lions back to serve, Brittany Stolby. Clean pass, a great defense by Stolby right after a serve. She got right into her position with a obviously frustrating error for Suzanne, number 17. See that hit wide. Her shoulders were just turned a little too far to the outside of the floor.
Yeah, she was really trying to make a tight shot there. You could tell, see her eyes focused.
You've noticed Ivy go up a lot with that left hand. We've got another no touch for the Lady Lions, 4 contacts for the Lady Saints. You see here assistant coach Nick Moore calling the serve for number 8, Ivy, telling her where on the court to serve. Coaches always look for the weak links because you want to get a weak passer to get your advantage up. And Celie Bruce was able to dodge that ball just in time for it to go long. It almost nailed her in the face. We see that on the replay right here.
This is a great attempt with a lot of smoke behind it. Celie Bruce getting out of the way.
And Ivy back to serve again. Strong pass. And it's always so important. You see there, Shaw let the ball go out of bounds. You've always got to have your foot on the line because it's so close. She goes up to hit, and she's standing there. You see her foot is on the line. She's not going to let it drop if she's not sure. But when you have your foot on the line and you can judge the ball that way, it's the only way to know. Number 23 sends the ball over Cardenas for the Lady Saints. Lots of quick reflexes you can see in this match. Good defense by Shaw. Ivy back to Shaw for a down-the-line shot that will result in a point for the Lady Lions. A great turn of her wrist at the last minute. You see here she lines up, kicks far outside, gets ready. Her shoulders are cross court. She turns last minute to go down the line to throw off the defense, and it works in her favor.
Yeah, that's a great senior play right there. Only a veteran can make that kind of adjustment in the air.
Great coverage by Shaw off of a block, and she's up again. A little slower speed this time, but she's throwing the defense off just enough. And Almaguer at an attempt, frustrating again. It's an unforced error. Nobody else played a part in that.
She's been hitting that shot though consistently over the last 10 or so attempts. So it's a good attempt for her, just coming up a little bit short.
And we will welcome that point back. Fazio, number 17, with a service error as Shaw steps back to serve. The Lady Lions are up by 1 point, 9-8.
And it's a race to 15.
You see in a out of bounds, it looks like that ball hit the antenna right as it was going over. Cardenas reached up, tried to get the ball back in play. You see it clearly made contact with the antenna. And they send it right back to Cardenas to make that up. She has a hitting error and then makes it up with a kill. So that is a wash in the stat book.
Like the trust factor there, give the player a chance right away to make up for the mistake.
Ivy reaching up again, second time over the net. And Bruce is really confident, and rightfully so, in letting these balls go long or wide. She ducked out of the way more intentionally that time. You see she knows her placement on the floor. If she's going to reach up with her hand, she knows it's going out of bounds, so she lets it go. Clean kill attempt by Hubbard. Returned by the Lady Lions. It's back to Hubbard for a quick set. The ball barely out of bounds. That'll be an interesting one to watch on the replay. See that here coming really, really close.
Ooh, just out. Just barely out. Wow.
I'd hate to be the line judge on that one.
Yeah, that
That's
was a great hit.
tough.
Coming at you again right there.
Slow
Let's
motion.
see.
Oh, I don't know.
From that angle, it's hard to tell if it maybe landed on the line or not.
And this timeout with the Lady Lions up 12-9 is exactly where we called a timeout in set number 1. The Lady Saints were down by 3, realized that, like you said, a race to 15, and they know they don't have time to let these points slip away. So this is an attempt to, again, get that mental focus back and take a deep breath and go back out fresh on the floor, ready to try again. The sign of a mature team here. You know the Lady Saints have been down point-wise, and they've called all their timeouts thus far. But they all walk out on the floor still heads up, shoulders high. They're ready to play. They don't look defeated, which shows that this game is not yet over. They're ready to come back and fight. Service error there. That is a successful timeout. As a coach, when you call a timeout to try and ice the server, whenever they miss a serve, that's when you know you called a good timeout. And the Lady Saints are back. Number 6, Temez for the serve. Great defense. McBride tries to bring that back in play, reaches up, goes cross court. Lots of hustle. Trying to clean it up here, bring it back into the center of the floor rather than running all over. For a free ball over to the Lady Lions.
Good punch.
Not the prettiest, but again, a point's a point. Susanne there gets up last minute, pushes the ball over the net, punches, as you said. It's a perfect description.
Yeah. She's been aiming at that line this whole game. Finally got one in. Now maybe she'll go the other way.
Oh, and right there you saw her she put her hands up just in time to get the ball not to hit the floor. We watch on this replay a great set, strong offensive play. The ball was up off the ground, but unfortunately just a little too close to it to continue the play. And number 4 for the Lady Saints, Marquez back to serve. Great block by Hubbard. And a free ball up, a quick set to Hubbard again. They're using her a lot. And Shaw there with a back row attack. And you'll notice in this replay, the ball is set to her. She goes up full swing, drops her elbow at the last minute, just barely rolls that ball, that roll shot to the middle of the floor. She saw that opening and went for it at just the right time.
Yeah, I think she was trying to hit the very empty spot there and got a little too much of it worked out, though.
Great dig by Celie Bruce off of a kill attempt by Fazio. And just long out of bounds for a Lady Saints point.
Celie Bruce has just become a ridiculous libero. She gets everything and then lets all the ones that are going to go out. I don't think she's made a bad decision yet.
She definitely trusts herself as a player, which is extremely important. And there, Bruce goes up, hits the ball into the antenna for an error for the Lady Lions. But Bruce has proven to be an extremely trustworthy libero. Her teammates trust her, and she trusts herself. And Suzanne up there, back row attack right to the middle of the floor for a kill from the back row. Aggressive, just like she was on the front row.
Yeah, threaded the needle here. Look, there's a little bit of defense and just right through the eye of the needle.
Scalaby back to serve. Lady Lions up 15-13. A great swing by Rivera, left-handed hitter. Now she's back to set. You see, now she has a great kill from the front row. She switches roles, so now she is a supporter of the offense. Not quite as active as she is on the front row, and now she's going to be supporting all of those with her assists in the set. Suzanne with another attempt from the back row. Great block by Mueller, and another awesome solo attempt there by Mueller for a point. She jumped back-to-back times. Really quick judgment. She makes that block, the ball comes back over, and she decides to go up and aggressively swish it to the left side for a kill. Service error by Ivy. At this point in the set, with how close the points are, it's going to be really important that Ivy shakes that off and gets a great set for a kill in this next rally. And unfortunately, she reaches for that ball. Cardenas hits it from the right side, goes a little bit wide, and Ivy, I'm not sure if she knew where she was on the floor, but she reaches for it right at the last minute. It was clearly going out of bounds, and that's a...
And did she, they ruled she hit it, but
she did.
It's hard to tell.
And Shaw there with a really aggressive play, great placement, really deep in the court, nobody there to cover.
Lady Lions really needed that one. They were the first to 15, and the old adage is the first one to 15 usually wins. But the Lady Saints had tied it up at 16.
And we've seen a lot of free balls, and that is a great example of what I was about to say with Mueller going up there and attacking that ball so aggressively. We've seen so many free balls, and you have to be able to turn those into plays like that. A beautiful placement from a quick middle set. If you have a free ball and you waste it in a game like this, right, well, you just can't afford to do that.
Big time play from Ayana Tabor.
You see a hole in the block right there. Our Mueller
Well
didn't
placed.
quite make it all the way out. But she came right back and made up for it with that kill right there.
That's what you do. If you want to stay on the court, get lots of court time, you make the right play when they come back to you. And Mueller, as a freshman, that's a big play.
That takes a lot of mental strength to be able to get rid of an error that you just made and come back and have an aggressive play like that. Bruce back to serve. And Cardenas with a kill attempt, a dig by Bruce, and another free ball sent over by the Lady Lions. And an unforced error right there. A good free ball play, a good pass, and a set up to Hubbard, but unfortunately it looked like she dropped her elbow a little too soon. A quick set here, and she hit it on the way down, tipping the ball right into the net.
Well, that was a big point for potentially for OLLU. Instead of making it a one-point game, it was a three-point game. Now a four-point game.
Great kill by Akers.
That was very clean. Probably the cleanest kill that we've seen her touch, although she's made some good ones. That was fantastic.
And that was by far the most confident, I think, the one that we've seen. She didn't doubt at all that the set was going to be there. She took an aggressive approach and relied on the setter to get the perfect set out there, and it worked out. And that was a extremely big point. Like you said, they reached to 20, but now that we're really into the final 4 points of the set. And again, this happened in set number 1. Our Lady of the Lake used both of their timeouts. SAGU didn't use any of theirs. So we're in that same scenario here where the Lady Lions are leading 21-17, and the game is still not over. We have seen comebacks from much bigger a deficit than this. But this is another attempt to ice the server and get SAGU a bit off their game.
Well, especially against a team as confident and potent as the Lady Saints. They are more than capable of making a good run. Matter of fact, in the last game, Langston had 2 4-point runs in the second set, which showed a little bit of defensive weakness, maybe some weak-mindedness. If you get into a lull, you get a little too confident. So got to stay up, and I think in a timeout like that, you remind your team, you remind each player, every point matters. Can't lull at all.
Hubbard there with a great, they're doing a lot of quick sets to her. You don't see a lot of high in the middle sets to Hubbard. She likes to run those quick plays, and I see why.
Yeah, she's very good at that.
And Temez back to serve for the Saints. Bruce with a back row kill attempt, hustling for the Lady Saints. A little out of system play here, trying to clean it up. McBride. Lots of great hustle. The libero, Oliveras, for the Lady Saints. And right there, a little off speed. Those plays are extremely frustrating because you see the ball, it looks like it plays off the net here a little bit, or the hands of the block. When you think you know where the ball's going to come and then it off speeds like that, it's really hard to judge. Great set by Ivy to McBride. Clean defense by the Lady Saints. And Bruce with another great dig. Just trying to get the ball back over the net. And right there, Hubbard had an open net. You'll see in this replay, there was no real block. There may have been a body there, but no aggressive block. And she took advantage of that open space of the net and hit it right down Bruce's throat.
Yeah, had a really clean alley to send to.
And that right there, a missed serve, especially, man, at this point in the game. They had the momentum. That was a great swing by Hubbard. We get to the back line, and for some reason that mental focus is gone, and now the Lady Lions are just 2 points away from set point. And as we talked about at the very beginning of this match, with two teams that are so closely matched up in skill level and intensity, you can't make little errors like that. And we've seen a lot of that from Our Lady of the Lake in the last couple plays, especially since the last timeout.
Right. Game point here. Lady Lions do not protect the lead, allowing OLLU to inch ever so close. It's now 24-20.
And Shaw there.
Big play.
How many times has she gotten that set point today? It feels like it's been a lot.
Almost every time. Her or Molly McBride.
Got to take advantage of those strong outside hitters.
Absolutely. Well, after the Langston game, our very own Kristen Urban from the court caught up with Coach Hank Moore to collect his thoughts from in between the Langston game and this game, and I think she talked to him a little bit about what he saw in that Langston game and how that translates into playing a doubleheader. Was that an advantage? Let's listen to what Coach Moore and Kristen are talking about.
Thanks, John. Coach Moore, tell us a little bit about your opponent, Our Lady of the Lake, and what it's going to take to defeat them tonight.
Our Lady of the Lake is a very, very strong team, very athletic. They're going to run a real quick tempoed offense. For us, we have to win the net, be aggressive on the net, block well, and swing away.
Is SAGU at a disadvantage having previously played a match tonight?
No, I don't think so. I think our kids are in great shape. We work, we condition, we lift, we run, we get in shape, and it's volleyball, so they should be ready to play.
Thanks, Coach Moore, and good luck tonight. Back to you, John and Devin.
Thanks, Kristen. And Coach Moore, just really no nonsense, old school type coach. No excuses. Doubleheader, tripleheader, give it to us. We just like to play volleyball, and I love that attitude. We just give us an opportunity to play, and we'll show up. He's really got a good team to do that kind of scheduling with. When you were playing, what's your take on doubleheaders? Is it tougher, especially these teams that they're playing? They're only playing one game tonight, but this is back-to-back days for SAGU. This is the first night, but tomorrow they'll also play another doubleheader. Is there any impact to the fatigue, to the stamina of what the player is going through? Is there anything to that?
I think probably the hardest part is the mental stamina. Physically, Coach Moore does a great job of doing enough conditioning to where the girls aren't going to feel way too tired. Obviously more tired than if they just had one, but the mental game is, in this scenario, they had quote-unquote an easier time in the first match, and Langston wasn't as much competition as Our Lady of the Lake, so mentally they could relax more and come into this match against OLLU thinking, we just played so well, we don't really have to try that hard.
Sure.
And that would be a trap. But at the same time, if you come in really strong against your first team and then you have an easier set the second time, you may struggle to start playing at that same level when you realize that the second team is easier to play. So it's more mental, I think, than physical, and that just comes with maturity.
And there you see Wayland Baptist collecting their first conference win of this season against MACU. That was played on Wayland's home court. They had gone 0-4, I believe, or 0-5. So they were due a win, and it's good to get that conference win for sure. Congratulations to the Flying Queens.
So now as we start set number 3, obviously the Lady Lions up 2-0. In their minds, they can finish it in this third set right here, but Our Lady of the Lake is saying, okay, we're taking it to 5. They want to take this to the very end if they want to win. So as Bruce steps back to serve, that's what's on the minds of either team. It's 1 set versus 3 more.
Wow.
A good use of the block there by Suzanne from that right side of the floor.
Very close to being a great block.
And Hubbard there with a tip from the outside. We've seen her more often than anything else hitting from the middle, but right there, a little off-speed tip from the outside. A great setup for her. And a good slow speed tip to throw off the Lady Lion defense. And a service error by Temez. Lady Lions ball again. Suzanne back to serve. See a couple errors there, sending a free ball over, but Suzanne makes up for it. Shaw sends a ball deep to the back right corner of the floor with a great kill there by 23 Cardenas there from right in between the outside and the middle of the court. Depending on what your coach calls it, that's either a B or a 3 is the set call, depending on who you play for. But nonetheless, it works great as Marquez steps back to serve for the Lady Saints. And again, like you said, John, Suzanne is taking that back corner over and over and over again, and it seems to be working, so she's going to keep going for it.
Yeah, and it's probably a little bit of some scouting information that Coach Moore and Coach Nick have come up with, seeing that might be an opportunity to exploit. There's not going to be very many weaknesses, if any, on an OLLU team, but they try to find the little ones and then go for it. So maybe that's why we're seeing her attack that as much as we do.
And Almaguer back to serve. Clean pass. Some jousting at the net there. Almaguer, great dig. Ivy out to Shaw. And Cardenas with a dig right in the middle of the floor. Out of system play, back to Shaw.
Wow.
Inbounds and a touch on the block. We've got Rivera up there hitting left-handed. We've got some different judgment calls there to make on the block, but she goes right from a strong offensive play to right back in the block. Strong left-handed tip right there again. Good block. Shaw up again, third time in a row trying to get this ball over the net. Cardenas, a strong tip to the middle, recovered by Suzanne, and back out to Shaw, reaching a bit far outside. With Rivera back up again. A lot of hustle in this rally. Cardenas with another tip. Suzanne, a great dig from right back. Shaw with the roll shot, recovered by Fazio in the middle.
Again, great dig, Suzanne.
Cardenas with a great block again. So
Wow.
many blocks. You see the teams laughing. They just can't seem to get this rally over with. This is where you play error-free ball right here. A strong, strong kill there by freshman Akers. After block, she goes up and sees that open spot. A confident freshman after a long rally that gets nerve-wracking.
Yeah, absolutely. And a freshman delivers. That point was played to the death. Great rally.
That's fun volleyball right there.
Yeah.
And Bruce, a smart play. She puts her foot on the line and lets it go out of bounds. Lady Lions lead 6-2 here in set number 3. And what that looked like there, you can tell a difference in, especially in Almaguer, her serve typically as a floater, it's really strong. There's no question if it's going over the net.
She was trying to play that short, right?
Right. She makes it up with a good pass out to Shaw, plays it off the block. Hits it off of the outside hand of Rivera, number 11, up to block on that outside. You see here, Shaw goes up, plays off the outside hand of Rivera for that ball to go out of bounds for a Lady Lions point. Good dig right there, up, and the ball is back in motion, pushed deep onto the side of the Lady Saints.
Olivares tried to get it just a little bit out of her reach, but she gets a lot of those, believe it or not. She leads the Red River in digs with 76.
Clean pass, a great offensive play out to Rivera. We've seen a lot of action for number 11, the setter that's now transitioning to the back row. She has had quite a lot of action these past couple of rallies, so I'm sure she's pretty out of breath as she steps back to serve here in set 3. And she comes back with an ace.
That was
Obviously not too out of breath.
Yeah, that was a great serve.
Barely over the net. You see that barely
Good comeback
cross it,
here.
drop right down. Bruce with a great pass to Ivy. To Mueller, a beautiful play yet again. Chemistry between the setter and the middle blocker. This is a difficult play to get the timing right, but she's there perfectly in time to the right spot on the floor. An out-of-system play, a free ball sent over to the Lady Lions by Marquez. And the ball hit in the net.
Yeah, that was a little awkward. Mueller got her body out of place and hit that from a very sideways type position.
And Fazio back to serve. This is a top spin serve that we haven't seen a whole lot of. Shaw with the kill.
Shaw came in the game with the leading hit percentage for the Lady Lions at almost 28%, but I think that's going up after today. She's been very, very successful with most of her attempts.
You see Hubbard there hitting from the outside, a free ball over to Bruce. And Mueller covers that ball. Bruce gets it back up, McBride sends it over. Switching things up, hitting from all sides of the court.
Wow.
Suzanne barely makes that over. You see kind of a sigh of relief as that ball hit the floor.
Wow. Great touch. And a timeout by OLLU. The score is 11-6. Lions in the favor. As we had showed you a little earlier, Wayland Baptist gets its first conference win over MACU. It's a little early in the season to really be reviewing a whole lot of standings. Some of these teams get out early and playing some of the classics or tourneys that are usually out of conference type tourneys. So they play, and Coach Moore made a comment about this to me a couple weeks ago. We're really up in our scheduling to face more or tougher competition early on, so that we can at least get if we win, or it's a close vote to get in the national rankings, that hopefully that will be the tipping point, because in the past they haven't played quite, there is no RPI for NAIA women's volleyball, but they do consider the opponents that you play, and it's voted on by raters within the system. And if they don't feel like you've played that tough schedule, then you're not likely to get those votes. So this year, Coach Moore leaving no doubt in raters' minds, because this schedule is tough.
And they're ready to take it on. Shaw there with the serve, a hitting error by Hubbard. She got a little too far under the net. You see she kind of makes contact with the net as she's trying to hit, showing that she's a little bit misjudging. She's jumping forward instead of up. Hits the ball into the net for a Lady Lions point. And I believe this is the biggest point deficit we've seen in this match this far. Ivy sends it back with a pass to McBride. Out to Maldonado on the right side, a new name for the Lady Saints. And with the kill from Suzanne, questionable, looked to be really close. That's a tough call, but even still, there was no defensive player for the Lady Saints that deep in the court. And Hubbard there finally with her hits from the outside. She's successful against Mueller and McBride. Both blockers are up, just not quite in sync. As Crudo's back to serve. And she lets the ball go a little bit too long. Another mental error that especially at this point, when with so much on the line, you've got to get back and focus. At some point, you always want to serve aggressively, but at some point, you just want the ball over and in, over and in. And Bruce back to serve. Out to Cardenas for a kill for the Lady Saints. Shaw falls a little too soon. The ball hits the floor, and the Lady Saints have the ball. An opportunity to come back here in set number 3.
It's a good hit.
And Temez with the serve. Out to Suzanne. The ball tips off Cardena's hands for an off-speed kill for Suzanne. She's now on the back row, which we've seen. She's a threat on the front row, but also on the back row. She can hit from anywhere on the floor. Really strong swing by Cardenas there. She kind of crunched up her body to give herself extra power, but it worked out through Suzanne off for a point for the Lady Saints. Marquez back to serve. Nice and easy over the net. And Ivy out to McBride. Cardenas covers that off of the net, and Temez sends it out to Rivera for a Lady Lions point.
And welcome back to our live broadcast here in the Schaefer Center. Coming to the end of a timeout called by OLLU. As you see, your score in the third set is SAGU 16, Lady Saints 9. The Saints are playing a good, it looks like they're wearing down just a little bit, which is, I mean, really kind of odd because this is their only game of the night, and this is the second in a back-to-back doubleheader feature for the Lady Lions, playing Langston a little earlier. And there you see a little substitution getting cleared up. But you would think that it would be the Lady Lions wearing out or wearing thin on their stamina. But actually, it looks like the Saints are kind of wearing down. This is not Saints' typical volleyball. And maybe they'll make a run here towards the end. But with a deficit of, it was 7, now 6. Not what we've been accustomed to seeing tonight in the previous sets.
And that's evidence that volleyball is so mental. There's obviously the physical component, but you've got to be mentally strong too to come out on top. Great swing there by Shaw with a shanked ball by their libero, Olivares. But again, only a 7-point deficit. We've still got some momentum on the side of the Lady Saints. They can come back and fight point for point.
Although we do not have a radar gun in the gym, my internal radar says that was a 80-mile-an-hour heater.
Another great swing there by the Lady Lions. Can't be recovered by the Lady Saints. Shanked off for another point, 18-10. With Stalaby back to serve. Clean defense out to Shaw for a tip down the line, recovered by Temez. Back out to Rivera. clean. Oh, great hustle.
Good try.
Great hustle by Temez, giving everything she's got to get that ball over the net. See, 3 chicken wings in a row.
Yeah, you don't see that too much, but good effort. Got an A for effort, but it just couldn't be converted to a good play. That was a good play.
And a great dump there by Temez. You see, even though she's on the back row, that we've seen the error called when a player in the front row jumps and is actually back row, and that's called against the team. But there, she doesn't clear what we call the plane of the net, so she sends it over with both hands. It stays below the allowed point for a kill. And that did not look like a freshman.
No.
Alexis Mueller there,
No,
number 4.
she's getting more and more comfortable with every set.
Great swing.
Getting the timing, and Ivy is just learning her players' timing, and that's really tough. When you got that many hitters, she's got to think about where they like it, and just the speed at which she sets. And the growth from last year to this year is just magnificent. Her timings are incredible.
Fazio back to serve. Top spin, no attempt by anyone. You see some smiles from the Lady Lions. That's
Oops.
something we haven't seen this entire match.
Yeah. Well, that had a little mustard on it as well. A little spicy mustard.
Two aces in a row for Fazio.
Wow. You don't want to give them confidence. 6 points is 6 points, but to a team with confidence, they could take that down really quick.
Good pass by Bruce. Ivy keeping it in play. So this is what we talked about. So Ivy's on the back row, and the referee's calling her over the net, but it's constant arguing because it didn't look to me like she jumped at all, which if her feet...
Yeah, I'd like to see that in a replay again. That it looked awkward, but not in violation.
So her feet were barely off the ground, but again, it's so tricky because it doesn't look like she cleared the plane of the net. So if any part of her body is above the top point of the net, then that would be illegal. But it looked, even though her feet were barely off the ground.
Let's see that one more time, because I'm not sure if we could tell from that angle. Right there, just barely right there.
Yeah, that's a tough call for sure. And then
Wow, yeah, just barely. Well, I guess
Moore,
good recognition by the R1.
and Coach Moore calls a timeout because the Lady Saints have gotten, this is now their 4th serve, so they are on a bit of a run that at this point of the set you don't want to let them keep going.
Yeah, and he's going to take every second off the clock, which is a great strategic coaching move. Ice that server that's already collected 2 good serve points on you, and make them think about it.
Fazio back to serve again. Lady Saints down 15-20. Strong top spin. Bruce gets it to Ivy, out to Zanny. And push it out to Hubbard. Little messy, but Suzanne takes advantage of that second play, pushes it deep into the back right corner of the floor. Nobody's there. Turns what looks like a lot of messy volleyball into a clean kill. Hubbard with a strong swing. And the ball makes contact with the antenna. That was a dangerous play because it could have been played off the block into the antenna, but it looks like it made contact before touching any SAGU blocker. Shaw back to serve again.
Wow.
Never give up on a ball.
That's right.
Great play by Suzanne. No nonsense there. Strong serve by Shaw. Out to Hubbard. Little short set, so she rolls it over. Shaw to Ivy, out to Tuzani again for another kill.
Wow.
She is using that block left and right.
She's been on fire this set.
We are serving match point, set and match point. A free ball over to the Lady Lions to return this up to Mueller for a great defensive play on behalf of the Lady Saints. Another free ball out to Suzanne and a kill for the match point. Lady Lions take it 25-15, 3 sets to none.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the finale of tonight's doubleheader. 2 back-to-back 3-game sweeps. That's tough to do, Devin.
It's a lot of great volleyball. I think this match was much more intense and exciting to watch. A lot faster paced and a lot more aggressive plays than against Langston. But the Lady Lions definitely came out mentally ready to take this on.
Yeah, and there you see the volleyball standings in the Sooner Athletic Conference. Quite a bit of conference play happening tonight, and I'm sure more this weekend as we get into conference play. It didn't look like all the standings were updated quite yet. And tomorrow, Georgetown versus our very own SAGU Lady Lions here in the Schaefer Center, starting at 11 a.m. That's Georgetown College, all the way in from Kentucky. And they're having a really good season. I don't think they've lost. They're 5-0, maybe 6-0. They're playing over in Fort Worth tonight against Texas Wesleyan. And coming over for a quick game to face SAGU, and then they'll be off back to Kentucky. But yet SAGU has another doubleheader and a game after that one, which will be at 11 or 1 p.m. against Central Christian College from Arkansas. So a lot of good volleyball tonight, Devin, and a lot more to come on Saturday. We were getting word that there may be a post-game interview, but it looks like the Lady Lions have retreated to their locker room. So for now, we'll catch back up tomorrow on the latest and greatest news of SAGU Sports with another doubleheader. Remember, starting at 11 a.m. against Georgetown College tomorrow. Please join us. Thank you for tuning in tonight.